The global cookware market is worth $94 billion a year. Lodge, Le Creuset, Mauviel, Staub, De Beyer, Demayer, Grewald, names and kitchens on every continent, built on heritage claims, and zero transparency about what separates a piece that outlasts 3 generations from one that warps in 18 months and ends up in a landfill. By the end of this, you will know the 7 pieces worth buying. Metallurgy, engineering decisions, factory certifications, not opinion. The material record. Cast iron skillets have been sold under dozens of brand names for over a century. And one American brand holds a patent on a manufacturing process that has not changed since 1910. Lodge. Lodge Manufacturing has operated out of South Pittsburgh, Tennessee since 1896. The skillet is cast from a single pour of recycled iron at temperatures exceeding 1300 degrees Celsius. No seam, no weld, no joint that can fail. The wall thickness on a Lodge 12-inch skillet is 4.8 millimeters, which produces a heat retention mass that a thin stainless pan cannot replicate regardless of price. A Lodge 10-inch skillet retails for around $20 in North America, 15 euros across Europe, and equivalent pricing in Brazil. The raw material cost of the iron is roughly $3 per unit. Lodge is not hiding that gap. The gap is foundry infrastructure, finishing, and a seasoning process the company runs in-house using soy-based oil baked at 230 degrees Celsius. The skillet arrives pre-seasoned, oven-safe to any temperature a home kitchen can produce, and completely inert. No coating to flake, no chemical to leach, no non-stick layer that degrades after 2 years of use. A Lodge skillet found in a grandmother's kitchen in 1960 is still in daily use in families across South America and Europe today. The mechanism that makes it last is also the mechanism that makes it cheap. There's nothing on it that can fail. Iron plus heat plus fat. That is the entire system. The only maintenance Lodge requires is what every cast iron piece requires. Keep it dry, rub it with oil after washing, never leave it in standing water. A skillet that costs $20 and lasts 100 years has a cost per year that rounds to 0. The pan you buy at a department store with a ceramic coating for $80 will need replacing in 3 years. The math is not subtle. Every professional kitchen in the world uses carbon steel for one specific reason. Cooks know something consumers do not. De Beyer. De Beyer is a French manufacturer founded in 1830, still operating out of the Vosges region, still making carbon steel pans from a single sheet of steel pressed under industrial tonnage with no seam and no weld. The Mineral B line is 99% iron and 1% carbon. The same alloy composition professional kitchens from Paris to Tokyo to Sao Paulo have used for 2 centuries. A De Beyer Mineral B 24-centimeter pan weighs 2.1 kilograms, which means enough thermal mass to sear without temperature drop, but light enough for the wrist movement a crepe or an omelet requires. The beeswax edge coating is food safe and prevents rust during shipping. It burns off on first use. After that, the pan is raw steel and it seasons exactly like cast iron. Faster because the surface is smoother, and lighter because the walls are thinner. Carbon steel reaches operating temperature in 90 seconds on a gas burner. A Lodge skillet takes 4 minutes to reach uniform heat. Different tools, different application, both permanent. De Beyer pans are available in kitchen supply stores across Europe, distributed through specialty retailers in North America, and stocked in professional supply chains in Brazil and across South America. The 24-centimeter Mineral B retails for approximately 65 euros. It will outlast any nonstick pan at any price. The mechanism is the same as Lodge. No coating, no layer, no surface that degrades. Carbon steel plus polymerized fat plus time produces a cooking surface that becomes more non-stick with every use instead of less. If you want to subscribe and drop your country in the comments, this script draws on metallurgical data, manufacturer certification records, and professional kitchen sourcing documentation. Every number here is confirmed. Now back to the list. This next brand has a waiting list in 12 countries. Collectors pay 5 times the retail price at auction. That is not hype. That is what happens when the engineering is genuinely irreplaceable. Le Creuset. Le Creuset was founded in Fresnoy-le-Grand, France in 1925. The enameled cast iron Dutch oven is still produced using a 2-part sand mold process, where each mold is used exactly once, broken apart after the casting cools, and the iron is hand inspected before the enamel is applied. The enamel is a vitreous glass coating fired at over 800 degrees Celsius directly onto the iron surface. It bonds at the molecular level. It does not chip under normal use. It does not react with acidic foods. A Le Creuset Dutch oven can braise tomato-based sauces for 8 hours without leaching a single compound into the food. A claim that bare cast iron cannot make, and that a ceramic-coated pan cannot sustain past the first hairline crack. The enamel interior is also a surface you never season, never oil, never maintain beyond washing. The cooking surface on a Le Creuset is the same on the day you buy it as it is 40 years later. The 26-centimeter round Dutch oven retails for approximately €350, $380 in North America, an equivalent pricing in Brazil and across international retail. Le Creuset operates retail stores in 45 countries. The lifetime guarantee covers manufacturing defects and is honored globally at any Le Creuset point of sale. That guarantee exists because the company's warranty claim rate is low enough to make offering it financially viable. That is not marketing. That is actuarial confidence in the manufacturing process. The auction market for vintage Le Creuset tells you everything. A 1970s Le Creuset Dutch oven in working condition sells at auction in Europe for between €180 and €260. The original owner paid approximately €40 at the time. The pan appreciates while it cooks. That does not happen with anything you buy at a discount kitchen retailer. This next brand produces a piece of cookware that costs more than some laptops. Michelin-starred kitchens in Paris, Tokyo, and Sao Paulo put it on their prep line and never replace it. Mauviel. Mauviel has manufactured copper cookware in Villedieu-les-Poêles, Normandy, France since 1830. The Méritage 2.5mm copper saucepan is 90% copper and 10% stainless steel at the interior, a laminate construction that gives the responsiveness of copper with a food-safe inert surface. Copper conducts heat at 401 watts per meter Kelvin. Stainless steel conducts at 16, aluminum conducts at 205. The gap between copper and everything else is not incremental. It is structural. A copper saucier responds to a reduction in flame in under 3 seconds. A stainless pan takes 15 to 20 seconds to respond. For a beurre blanc, for a caramel, for any sauce where the difference between perfect and burned is a matter of seconds, that response time is the entire game. The 2.5mm copper saucepan from Mauviel in the 18-centimeter size retails for approximately €260. A cheaper pan with an aluminum core and a stainless exterior will cost €60 and respond 4 times slower to heat changes. For everyday cooking, that gap is manageable. For precision work, that gap costs you the dish. Professional kitchens pay for the copper because the copper prevents waste, and in a kitchen where a dish costs €60 per plate, a ruined sauce is a €60 loss. The math justifies the material at scale. Mauviel copper is sold in specialty kitchen retailers across France, Germany, the United Kingdom, Brazil, the United States, and Japan. The tinned interior versions require re-tinning every few years of professional use, approximately every decade in a home kitchen. The stainless interior version requires nothing. It is the same pan in 30 years that it is today. That is the one to buy. There is a brand that Belgian engineers built specifically for professional induction systems. A decade later, it became the only stainless cookware that independent metallurgical testing could not fault. De Meyer. De Meyer is a Belgian manufacturer that has produced stainless steel cookware since 1908. The Atlantis and Industry lines use a 7-layer construction. The bottom comprises 5 layers of aluminum and stainless steel bonded under industrial pressure, with pure aluminum core layers 2 and 4 and stainless layers 1, 3, and 5, capped with Silvanox-treated 1810 stainless on the cooking surface. Silvanox is a patented electrochemical surface treatment that removes iron ions from the outermost layer of the steel, leaving a surface that is more corrosion-resistant, more stain-resistant, and more resistant to discoloration from high heat than standard 1810 stainless. It is not a coating. It is a modification of the steel itself at the molecular surface level. It cannot chip, peel, or degrade. The De Meyer Atlantis 24-centimeter skillet retails for approximately €220. The 7-layer base provides heat distribution that independent laboratory testing has measured at plus or minus 2 degrees Celsius across the entire cooking surface, a figure that single-layer or 3-layer stainless pans cannot approach. For home cooking, that precision is a luxury. For anyone who cooks proteins to temperature or candy to stage, it is the difference between a result and a failure. De Meyer is distributed in professional kitchen supply chains across Europe, North America, and Brazil. The company offers a 30-year guarantee on the Atlantis line. Not a lifetime guarantee, 30 years, with specific terms, because the engineering team calculated 30 years as the documented functional life of the construction under normal use. That is the kind of number a company puts on paper only when the metallurgy actually supports it. This next piece has been made in the same Japanese town for over 300 years. A single craftsman produces fewer than 600 units per year. The waiting list is currently 18 months. Iwachu. Iwachu is an iron casting foundry based in Morioka, Japan, operating since 1724. The tetsubin, the Japanese cast iron kettle, and the cast iron sukiyaki pan produced by Iwachu are formed using a sand casting process that predates industrial manufacturing and has never been mechanized because the surface texture the process creates cannot be replicated by machine. The interior of an Iwachu tetsubin develops a calcium carbonate mineral layer from repeated use with water, a layer that actually improves water quality over time by neutralizing certain acidic compounds and adding trace iron to the water. Traditional Japanese tea culture documented this effect in the 18th century. Modern water quality testing has confirmed it. This is not heritage storytelling, this is chemistry. The Iwachu cast iron skillet is thicker than a lodge by approximately 0.8 millimeters, which produces a longer preheat time, but a more uniform retained heat across the cooking surface. The enamel versions are coated using a traditional urushi lacquer process on the exterior and a food-safe enamel on the interior. The uncoated versions are seasoned with vegetable oil in the traditional manner. Both versions are available internationally through Japanese kitchen specialty importers and through Iwachu's own export distribution program, which ships to North America, Europe, and Brazil. The price point is higher than Lodge. A 24-centimeter Iwachu skillet retails for approximately 90 to 120 euros, depending on the market and the finish. The manufacturing output is limited by the craftsman capacity of the foundry, which employs fewer than 40 people. The physical object they produce is the same object their predecessors produced 3 centuries ago using the same process. There is a reason the design has not changed. It works. It has always worked. It will work for another 300 years in the hands of whoever owns it next. The last brand on this list was almost impossible to find outside professional circles until 5 years ago. Now, it is the only carbon steel manufacturer with a documented wait time in retail. Buyer demand exceeded production capacity by 40% last year. Mineral B is on this list, but this is the one above it, Matfer Bourgeat. Matfer Bourgeat is a French professional kitchen supply manufacturer that has produced carbon steel cookware for professional culinary use since 1814. The black carbon steel pan line, available in sizes from 18 to 40 centimeters, is manufactured from a single pressed sheet of 99% iron and 1% carbon, identical alloy to Debye, with one difference in the finishing process. Matfer does not apply any pretreatment to the cooking surface. The pan arrives raw, gray, slightly rough to the touch. The initial seasoning process requires 3 separate oil burn cycles before the pan is ready for cooking. That process takes 45 minutes. Most consumers return it without understanding what they have. That is the only reason it has not dominated the consumer market the way it dominates the professional one. Every culinary school in France, Spain, Italy, and most of South America's top culinary institutions uses Matfer Bourgeat carbon steel pans as the primary teaching pan for sauté and crepe work. The reason is tactile education. A Matfer pan teaches the cook to use heat correctly because the pan's performance is honest. It does not smooth over a mistake the way a thick-bottomed pan does. It shows you the heat immediately. Chefs trained on Matfer carbon steel develop heat intuition faster than chefs trained on any other surface, which is why culinary schools have used them for over 2 centuries. The Matfer Bourgeat 32-centimeter carbon steel pan retails for approximately 55 to 70 euros depending on the market. It is available through professional kitchen supply distributors in France, the United Kingdom, Germany, the United States, Canada, and Brazil, and through international shipping from French kitchen supply retailers. The pan that arrives in the box weighs approximately 1.8 kilograms, has no coating, no weld, no seam, and no part that can ever fail. Season it correctly, and it will still be in daily use in 2125. There is no other cookware category where you can make that statement about a 70 euro purchase. The cookware industry is not structured to make you buy once. It is structured to make you buy repeatedly. The degrading nonstick surface, the warping base, the flaking ceramic, these are not engineering failures, they are business model features. The 7 pieces in this list share one characteristic that makes them commercially inconvenient. They do not need to be replaced. A Lodge skillet does not generate a repeat purchase. A Mauviel copper pan does not generate a replacement cycle, à la Creuset. Dutch oven passed from one generation to the next is a sale that happened once in 1972 and has not happened again. That is why none of these brands spend heavily on mass advertising. They do not need to find you every 3 years. They found you once. The global market is $94 billion a year. The 7 pieces in this list will cost you, combined, under 800 euros if you buy strategically, and under 2,000 euros if you buy the full spectrum including copper. Either way, you buy them once. The industry is counting on you not knowing that.